All right. Bitcoin's future is incredibly bullish, in my opinion. And in this video, I'm going to show you real data analysis, on-chain data analysis that proves this is going to make you incredibly super bullish. So watch the whole thing because we're going to start off simple. I'll break things down. I want everybody to understand. This is another video of ours that you should tweet, you should post on Facebook, share with your brother or your sister, your mom, your dad, because it's stuff like this that the mainstream media does not report, that many people don't, there's no way to access this information, so you wouldn't know how hard big money is buying Bitcoin during this dip and during this dip, and that's what we're going to talk about. So sometimes on this channel we talk about fundamentals. I mean, all year, for the past 2 years, I've been showing you different fundamental indicators that to me suggests Bitcoin and cryptocurrency have a very bullish future. It's not going away. In fact, we're still early on. This is just the beginning. So without further ado, let's talk about it. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, support the channel. And before I show you the on-chain data that is basically the point of this video, I want to reiterate something that we talked about 1 week ago in my video. Do not sell your Bitcoin until you see this on-chain data report. So in that video from a week ago, because this ties into it, we went over how this recent sell-off right here from $10,000 to just below $8,000, this sell-off wasn't from people who bought Bitcoin down here. The sell-off wasn't from people who bought Bitcoin down here, or even people who bought Bitcoin way back in the day. On-chain data analysis proves that the sell-off, the selling pressure from the recent market sell-off came primarily from short-term traders, not long-term, but people that acquired Bitcoin between $10,000 and $12,000. And that's important. It's important to know that the people who sold right here were the people who got in during the euphoric phase at the top, and not the people who are accumulating and holding long-term. At least that's what the data indicates. So knowing that, new information has come out, and we're going to analyze this. In short, the number of Bitcoin addresses holding more than 10,000 Bitcoin has never been higher. And that sounds kind of scary, unsure how to consume that data, but let's talk about it. And before we get into it, I want you to notice two things. Since the capitulation of late 2018, when Bitcoin went from $6,000 to $3,000, that was the pivotal time when Bitcoin addresses holding more than 1,000 Bitcoin, so millions of dollars, that's when that happened. That's when this accumulation for big money came into the market. So this isn't retail. What's happening right here isn't retail. And I think one reason for this is because in this cycle right here, back in Bitcoin's past history, people weren't sure if Bitcoin really had a future, as opposed to this cycle right here, when a lot of people think that, well, I don't know if Bitcoin's going to be around forever, but I see strong indications that Bitcoin's going to be around for 3, 5, 10 years plus. And as these institutions, they finally have on-ramps, Fidelity, Backed, GBTC, they can finally buy Bitcoin. And this is them getting in at the bottom. So you can see, let's take a look at this. You can see that right here, when Bitcoin capitulated, we never saw so many wallet addresses start accumulating 1,000 Bitcoins or more. I'm sure to them, they're thinking, well, this is the last time we're going to get Bitcoin under $5,000. And then right here, just a week ago, we see this happen again. It shoots up. They're probably thinking, well, this might be one of the last times that we see Bitcoin below $10,000. And the funny thing is, it's because Bitcoin is near its all-time highs, it's never been more expensive to buy 1,000 Bitcoins. But despite that, it's never been more popular. So let's continue, because a lot of people have been wondering, what does Willy Woo think of? By the way, this last slide was courtesy of Glassnode. Glassnode is an on-chain market intelligence, advanced insight data and tools for investors in digital assets. So they do on-chain data research and break things down and analyze it. So let's talk about Willy Woo, because Willy Woo was one of those people who said there's no way that Bitcoin is, based on on-chain data, it's hard for him to believe that Bitcoin would go below the 200-day moving average. And if it did go, he said he'd be a buyer. And he's been pretty silent after this happened. So we finally have some information from him. And in short, we're going to get to this, but he is super bullish on the future of Bitcoin for this reason. So let's check this out. So Glassnode, what we just looked at, posted a chart of address counts with 1,000 Bitcoin or more today. It prompted me to look back further in time. This is amazing. The rate of growth of 1,000 Bitcoin addresses now matches early growth in Bitcoin's network. So you can see that back in the early days when all you needed to do is set up a mining rig, obviously a lot of different wallet addresses accumulated 1,000 Bitcoins. Now, between 2014 to the run-up of late 2017, we don't see this increase all that much. And I think the reason why is a lot of retail was getting in between 2014, 15, 16, and 17. Retail was coming in at this point, and now for the first time in a long time, we're seeing wallet addresses of 1,000 Bitcoins or more growing again, which is interesting. It's never been more expensive, but once again, we're seeing this happen. So let's talk about that. In the early years, gaining 1,000 Bitcoin was a matter of being an uber geek, knowing how to mine it, and some investment in hardware and electricity. I knew tech friends who mined 50 Bitcoin easy, just for fun, trying out the software. In 2019, 1,000 Bitcoin means an investment of $10 million or more. The number of ultra-high net worth individuals, i.e. 50 million plus in the world, stands at around 150,000 people. It strikes me that this population is probably in the same order of magnitude as the people who were interested and knew how to mine Bitcoin pre-2013, producing similar growth patterns. In my opinion, we're likely in a new renaissance of Bitcoin. This one is powered by capital influx of high net worth investors, while the early one was from tech-savvy people who are bootstrapping the network. Super bullish. So I liked this. I'm going to retweet this. So let me ask you something. If Bitcoin was going away, if Bitcoin was dead in the water, if cryptocurrency was done, would we see for the first time ever tens of millions of dollars being injected every time Bitcoin takes a dip? Look at this. When Bitcoin capitulated from $6,000 to $3,000, look at how much wallet addresses accumulated 10,000 or 1,000 Bitcoins or more. It was tons. And I'm sure they would have liked this price to stay below $5,000 for as long as they could, but we creeped up and we inched up. And eventually, on April 1st, April 2nd, the price eventually had to follow. It burst up, and as the price, look at this huge order. This is that huge order that caused Bitcoin to go from, what was it, like $4,000 right here, popping up to $5,000 and $6,000, and it started this major run. It's like eventually, since Bitcoin has a limited fixed supply, eventually the price has to follow this massive accumulation that's happening. So right now, taking a look at Bitcoin right now, we see, let's switch to the hour chart right here. We see that since Bitcoin's mini capitulation from the descending triangle down to just below $8,000, at the moment, we're still inching up. Now, this video, it's not to say that Bitcoin couldn't drop lower. That's exactly what big money wants. They were going to try and suppress this price as long as possible. But if you take a look, the trend is your friend, and the long-term trend is pointing upwards. Now let's talk about something else that relates to this, because it's not just people buying Bitcoin. It's also just institutions and organizations interested in cryptocurrency in general. So take this recent news story. Visa, MasterCard, Stripe, and eBay have all now quit Facebook's Libra in one day. Libra has faced hostile reactions from policymakers, and now all these companies that were going to go in with it, Mark Zuckerberg, they're all out. And this speaks to the problems that we're going to see, that the challenges that this market, we're still early on, we're still in the wild, wild west, but think about how stuff like this is going to affect everything in the future. And I just tweeted this out today. Is your cryptocurrency censorship resistant, permissionless, and decentralized? If it is, there's a good chance that there will be a long-term demand for it. If it is not, then why would people want it? Or why would a government allow it? So Facebook is obviously in the government's eye, and the government is trying to heavily regulate or stop this from happening in general. Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe Litecoin, maybe XRP are the only ones that the policymakers are aware of at this point. But what happens when Stellar, Tron, Cardano, any of these other coins, Chainlink, what happens when they get so big the government takes notice? If they are centralized, like Libra is, the government knows exactly who to contact, exactly how to make trouble, shut it down, and the government's going to kill a lot of these altcoins. Bitcoin is the most decentralized, has the biggest liquidity, greatest network effect, no single point of failure. So that is another reason why Bitcoin is far more valuable, in my mind, than a lot of these altcoins. Now, another thing, since you subscribe to our channel, although Bitcoin, in my opinion, is the greatest store of value 10 plus years down the line, you and me, especially if you tune in every single day, when these altcoins start to pump, when there is a trend change, because right now only we see that big money is coming in, but not necessarily retail money. When retail starts coming in and they start buying these altcoins, you and me are going to be in a unique position where it is possible we could capitalize off, no better way to say it, people who don't understand what gives Bitcoin value, people who don't know a lot, and we can swing trade. Now, is there a coin that's going to stand the test of time like Bitcoin? It remains to be seen, and I just shared with you a possible roadblock that not only Bitcoin is going to go through. Trust me, Bitcoin's going to get big enough, and the government's going to try and stop Bitcoin, but it's going to be very hard for them. It's going to be far easier stopping some of these centralized altcoins. And that is it for me today, my friends. My name is Aaron. This is Altcoin Daily. Give this video a like, send it to a friend, and let me know if you are just as bullish as I am. I'll see you tomorrow.